Welcome back everyone, rest away and an edition of NXT Out of 10, and as we prepare for the draft, which could have major impact, we've got a big episode of NXT this week, of course headlined by that cage match between Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes to really end their rivalry, and much more. But without further ado, let's get straight into the card, and we start things off with Dijak taking on Noam Dar. Wwenxt distracted Dijak with a mask that was similar to the T-bar attire. There was just enough for Noam Dar to hit Nova Roller for the win. The dynamic of this match was odd but certainly unique. Dijak was the favourite big man, battling the hated smaller competitor Dar, who struggled to keep control at any stage of the match. Neither man really looked comfortable in the roles, especially Dijak, but there was swept up over the course of the match, including the final stretch, so the crowd was completely invested. Unless Hard Justice is on the way to main roster, Dijak losing is a bit of a disappointment. He had the chance to quickly build up momentum. Dar, though, seems more like to stay in NXT and can run with this victory in a big way, and could even set up a conventional challenge for him for me. So yeah, I kind of like this in a weird way. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Before we got Saul Ruka taking on Lola Vice. Ruka was rolling over Vice until Davenport tripped Ruka off the ropes. Vice caught Ruka with a roundhouse kick for the win. Nutty interrupted Vice's celebrations to announce that they would fight in 2 weeks in NXT Underground. This was a battle of two talented women that were not quite ready to land a match. They hit their choreographed moves, but yeah, it just didn't feel like a serious fight. Vice especially suffered in that regard and looked out of sorts trying to keep up with Ruka's pace. Hopefully this is one of these matches they can both review afterwards and improve. While Vice needed a win ahead of the biggest match of her career, yeah, I'm not sure if this really built up the momentum, but the NXT Underground match should be better. I'll give it a 5 out of 10. Before it's time for Ridge Holland against Joaquin Wilde, and Ridge Holland ran him over basically in the outside, then planted a Northern Grit in the ring to get the win. This had the chance to be a fun sprint, but Holland completely squashed the main roster veteran. It should have more credibility than this. It was a fine squash match, continues to do not much for Holland. He was already established as a destroyer months ago, but this supposed rebrand, it would have been more interesting for Wilde to pick up the win, fueling Holland's anger. But yeah, in a way, if we're going to make Holland look dominant, I guess the way to do it. Bit weird that they use the main roster style, but there we go. It gets a 6 out of 10 from me, I think. Before Tony D'Angelo was out next and explained that the family was continuing to grow and learn every fight. Even losses to Ilya. No call to Krashko interrupted to question why the family made their business public last week. Dempsey refused to pay for the business rendered, and the Don threatened to go for the Heritage Cup. A brawl broke out that ended with the family standing until NXT using the family services as the explanation for Drew Gulak's disappearance makes sense, though the follow-up has been awkward so far. The family, especially the Don, is on completely different level to no call to Krashko. It played out in promos and they struggle to keep up with him. The Don needs to win the Heritage Cup if he challenges for it, but it would be best for maybe Stacks or Chris Fearless challenge instead. We'll see. Before it's time for Ilya Dragunov against Javon Evans, the NXT locker room ran out to answer the open challenge from Dragunov, but it was Javon Evans who jumped the announce table to get in the ring first. Evans showed off his athleticism and heart, surviving some brutal shots from the Mad Dragon. In the end, the torpedo in Moscow was too much for the young OG. There are a few clearer seals of approval than putting Evans up against Dragunov in his second ever NXT match. While the young OG is far from the Mad Dragon's level, he moved up the ranks by keeping up with him for a few competitive minutes. It was an absolute spirit and much better showcase for Evans than his debut, and the way he moves looks like it cannot be controlled. This was everything it needs to be, and the right style got the shot light. Evans could easily be in contention later this year, so yeah, gets a 7 out of 10 for me. This was great. Before it's time for Theo Hale against Taysom Paxley. Hale had some trouble with Paxley's unique style at first. Eventually she found her courage to throw Jansen Nitz and Jason James to get involved. Jane surprised tackle allowed Paxley to roll Hale up for free. Afterwards, officials tried to contain Hale as Jane, but another fight broke out in the ring as Lyra Valkyria jumped Paxley. This was way too short because Hale and Paxley found their dynamic from the jump and it was working. Both have technical styles that fit well for a ground-based battle interrupted by the drama ringside. It was nice to be short. It would have been nice to see Paxley pick up a more definitive victory. She'd be hoping for more credibility built up over her career. This felt like the strongest indication it needs to happen soon because this rivalry is getting a bit out of hand. So yeah, unfortunately I'm going to give this a 5 out of 10. Before we saw the AOP battle Anofi and Blade, and they showed heart by saying this fight, but they were completely outmatched. Akam and Razor mercifully ended this with a super collider. It was an absolute squash match, but a necessary one. The Author Spain booking on SmackDown, this re-established them as lethal to just about any tag team. It was not a pretty fight though. AEP obviously looked tired, and that was not involved in the fight. Hopefully regular in-ring opportunities can get them back in shape for a long-term competitive tag matches, because yeah, when they're on it, they're really good. And yeah, we just need to get them back to that level. But I think Anofi and Blade show fight here, and they still in a way look pretty decent in defeat. So yeah, on the whole, this was pretty decent stuff. Yeah, I'll give it a 6 out of 10. Before it's time for Ivar against Josh Briggs. Briggs showed off his power over early on against Ivar, and Bruce was slowed him down. The Viking Raider took advantage of a big moonsault for the victory. NXT established that Briggs had bruised ribs last week, and if he was truly injured at Stand and Deliver, but booking him here would have been an odd choice. If he's actually healthy and sold well, he did well. This was a fine match that was not too unnecessary. Ivar was already the next challenger for Femi, solidifying his claim, beating up an injured man. Femi versus Ivar should be fun, especially since the Viking Raider has always been an unconventional big man. It would add some meat to the Spring Breaking Night 2 card, I guess. So yeah, I'll give it 6 out of 10. But I think Ivar getting the win here is what we all expected. Wasn't too many shocks, but it was a bit of hard-hitting which I like. I'll give it 6 out of 10. Before it's time for Trick Williams versus Carmelo Hayes, he's used the steel cage to his advantage and then got his security involved despite it all. Trick Williams still caught Mello with 2 trick knees, including his second through a steel chair for a clean fall. If the point of this match was to reinforce the main event Stand and Deliver, it absolutely did that. Trick looked unstoppable down the stretch, running over Mello like he wasn't on the same level. The action was very basic, heavily leaning into strikes using this cage. It was not a match highlights, but pure story as Trick would not be denied no matter what his former friend threw at him. Mello has to go to the main roster to rebuild from here because he cannot be in the same league as Trick for a while following this result. All signs point towards Trick winning the NXT Championship, and the crowd is absolutely ready for it. So yeah, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. This was great, a brilliant main event leading on to the Ilya match, and yeah, I think a great way to put the end of this feud and Trick more over than ever. Yeah, continues to be a great story. 8 out of 10. Overall, NXT gets a 7 out of 10 from me. I thought, yeah, it was a really good episode of NXT this week, I have to say. Really enjoyed the main event. I thought it was fantastic. And then, yeah, as well on the card, some interesting little stuff that we're setting up, I think, for Stand and Deliver and beyond. So yeah, on the whole, I thought it was a really decent show, and yeah, like I say, gets a 7 out of 10 from me. Good stuff. Guys, that's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe, follow us on our socials, link in the description below for daily wrestling news, meme and content. Subscribe to our other channels on screen right now, that'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace out.